think we'll become better for it because we can impart some wisdom in these young minds. Because a lot of times they're not teaching this stuff, man. They're not talking about these things. They skimming over that stuff.
Right. I want to talk about that politics.
Yeah, we talk about politics is usually
politics. You know, yes, you're right about voting, and but really, I took a class called government. I took a government class when I was in college, bro. I learned a lot, and what I learned is locally.
Yes.
When you vote locally for your mayor and all that, you are really, your vote is counting really direct.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
But when we start getting into voting, as far as, for presidents and different stuff, because, we know about the different judicial branches.
Yes, sir.
We know it's based on how many seats your representatives hold. It's more electoral votes. We already understand this stuff. And those who don't need to research that. But this is why, going back, the system, about 3/5 human being, that's why they call us, they consider the African American as 3/5 of a human being, because it was based on, consider him human to tip the scale and for my voting rights, so I could put more people in power. So that's what it was about, and that's the system that was set. So it's not just racism, which is a system that was created. It was a lot of classism,
right?
Too, right. So it's about money, because money equals power. You know what I mean? So this is where it was a lot of things based on, not just the color of our skin. Of course, they had to create that. You know what I mean? To make this, to soothe their conscience and say, this is why we can treat them like that, because they am. So you got to really condition your mind to say that, and then it's passed on. It's a learned behavior. It's nothing nobody's born with. Nobody's born with this. Because you look at children do not know the concept of color. They'll play with each other all day. They don't understand none of that. They just see another human being. God created you like that. But there's other people that come put these systems in your head. So you see a child in a picture when they burning brothers at the stake like they did, right?
Yeah.
The sisters, right? And hanging dudes. So then you see a child with a Ku Klux Klan outfit on. It's not the child's fault. That child grows up, like you said, Shelton, because they're conditioned. Just like we was conditioned to think less than ourselves. So here you got white and black at the bottom caught in the matrix. It's the people on top who created the systems. So while we fighting each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is why I try to tell people, while we're fighting each other, it's the people at top that's profiting off of this, because they're instilling fear. If I can instill fear, it's just not black people that conquer and divide. They can conquer and divide the human being. So if I can keep them fighting over silly stuff, minute stuff, then I can make profit off of it. I can profit off their pain, and then keep them at odds. And this is the whole idea and the concept of what we call institutionalized racism.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I just want to start it out like that.
And I would want to say too, with what Brandon just said, like when you're dealing with racism, one of the first things that we have to do is when you deal with the word race, like we have to define these words for what they is. Like a race is a group of people that unified with common interests, habits, or characteristics. That's what a race is, right? That's the first definition you're gonna get for a race. The ISP is just a suffix. It supports their word, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it has nothing to do with skin pigmentation. Brandon just said, people actually, they bring this stuff about to divide us, and they capitalize off our ignorance, right?
That's right.
The proper word would be, like Brandon said again, prejudice. You prejudging something before you even get a chance to see what it is. So there's really no such thing as a racist, because
that's right.
That's not the definition of the word race. And like I say, the ISP is only a suffix. It supports that word. Now, when we're dealing with that, we have to also understand too that because of the lies and the deceit, you got two people that are suffering. One suffering from inferiority, and the other one suffering from superiority, because both of them have been lied to. And this is what creates bad race relations. One feel like he's better, and the other one feel like he's lower. And this is what creates the bad race relationship, because they've been lied to. But if you could put it on an equal scale, and you would tell the truth, some of the conflicts that we have with skin pigmentation, we wouldn't even be having them, man. Because at the end of the day, we all are one family. That's the human family. That's what we are. That's what we are. Right. And we have to start using that narrative. We have to start using them narratives going forward, because if we keep it divided like it is, right? Like when I speak about the system, personally, when I speak about the system, if I'm talking about white people, whatever the situation is, it's because when you look at the education department, and if it's out of control, who do you blame? You got to blame the people at the top. Well, who's at the top? Right. We know it's me. When you're looking at the financial institutions, if the banks in the world, if the government is in trouble behind money, you got to blame the people at the top. And when you blame the people at the top, you know it's not us. So when we speak about these things, we have to go to the root of the problem. And that's why it would appear like it's a black and white thing, right? But you have to attack the problem. And if the problem is at the top, that's where we got to hit it. That's where we got to hit it. If everything is out of the way, we got to start from the top. We got to start from the top and fix it and get to the root of the problem.
That's right. That's the key. That's the key to getting to the root of it all. I mean, having a discussion, really kind of like a gloves off kind of a conversation, because a lot of times I think that's the reason why we really hadn't got true results, because that's a hard conversation to have. That's a hard conversation because people really don't want to see that, because you got to rip those layers off of that onion and start really peeling back, you know, and really getting to the root, the bare knuckles of this thing, bare bones, if you will. And then that's when you can really start healing. But a lot of times, you know, we're putting Band-Aids on bullet wounds and expecting, you know, it not to leave a scar, but it's scarred. You got years of scar. We got years of scar tissue that's being built up, and it just really just messing up everything, you know, honestly, because it just not having to have that honest conversation about, okay, whatever it is, we can call it racism, we call it classism, we call it socialism, we call it communism, whatever we want to call it, whatever it is, it has to get better, right? We hope it get better. We wish it gets better. And as we saying, it needs to get better, right? It needs to get better, you know, and in all areas, no matter where you stand in this thing, and no matter what position that you take, you know, there's always room for improvement is what I would say in this particular case, because with so much hate, it takes so much energy to hate. It takes so much energy, man, and so much time out of you, and so much just, I guess, joy out of a day, you know, just to not like a person because of whatever the situation may be, you know, because of something you're dealing with or some kind of way you feel. I think it's just unfair to people that just really care about people. What are you guys' opinion on separate but equal? Since we're talking Jim Crow and stuff like that, what are you guys' opinion on that? You know, is that a big play on words to you?
Separate but to me, it's like there's no equality. You know, me and your brother were talking about it earlier, because, you know, a lot of us will conclude that, you know, at the end of the day, that it's all about decisions, and that's not true. It's not true, because you can be lured into a lifestyle that you don't want, right? And how do you do it? Because we don't govern it. We don't govern what comes in and what comes out, right? Mm-hmm. So if you don't govern it, you don't control it. So, I mean, if we don't govern it, we don't control it. Like I say, when you look at Hurricane Katrina, man, when you think about Hurricane Katrina was an example to let us know that when that hurricane, that was a natural disaster, right?
Yes.
And it flooded out everything. It destroyed everything. They wouldn't even allow them to go back to their residence, man. So what do that tell us? Like, we don't own anything. You don't own anything. You don't own anything, because when situations like that happen, it's gonna reflect who's in control, you know. And it's just like, and I want to say this too, also, right? Because we're dealing with some serious issues. When you look at the police department, the National Guard, the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, the Marines, when you're looking at that, a lot of people don't want to accept it. But when you look at those organizations or those structures, you're dealing with white power. I don't care if you're in a black neighborhood and a black cop shows up. That's not what he represents. He don't represent himself. He represents a power that sent him. And when you look at the power that sent him, this is what you're dealing with.
Yes,
you know, I know. If y'all can recall last year when the shootings happened in Dallas, Texas, I was down there at the Black Lives Matter. I was down there, and I witnessed things that I ain't never think I seen in my life. But what I seen more than anything was The Dallas police was one entity. And then they sent the task force. When they sent the task force, it was shut down at that point. It was shut down. But you look at the waves of reinforcements that they still have. So for those that's thinking about, this race war or things like that, we can get that out of our mind, because that would never happen. We would never win that. He would never win that. He would never win that, right, because the system is already set up how they want it. And the only way you're going to overcome it, you're either going to have to deal with it or you're going to have to migrate. But they're not going to allow another system within this system, because once you start speaking too much out about it, you become a target. And we look back in history, the Martin Luther King, the Malcolm X, whatever happened. When you become too strong, they assassinate you. So this is why I always say we need to start thinking too foreign, overseas, and connected. Because we have to be realistic. If it was a nation that we ran, will we allow anybody just to come in and take over? No. When we feel like it's getting out of control, we're gonna put the clamp down. And this is what's going on in the country right now. This is what's going on. So you have to be mindful of this thing too.
Right.
I want to say this, and that brother's right. That brother's right on point.
Right on.
But I want to say this, kind of, because you asked the question about the separate but equal, and I want to say something else. First of all, they even put it in the Constitution, bro, that every man is created equal. And they had slaves at the time. That's the irony of it, right? Mm-hmm. The irony of it, they had slaves, but they put it in there. You know why? Because they knew in their vision, they were wise enough to know that institution wasn't going to last, bro. They already knew this.
Right.
These people knew this. That's why they put it in there. And they knew it was God-given rights, that you was born with certain inalienable rights that nobody can take away from you. So this institution wasn't going to last. And they borrowed from the Quran. They ain't going to tell you that. Thomas Jefferson had the Quran. And where did he get it from? Europeans. So they already had the Quran before over here. A lot of the slaves was Muslims, bro. And I'm just throwing this out here, not just because I'm Muslim, but a lot of people don't know why they fed pork and broke up their families and all this stuff. It was more to it. So this man had a Quran. So they were studying us already. They always studied us, bro. They always studied African American. They always studied us. We the ones not studying. You know what I mean?
Again.
So once we start studying, yes, sir. Right. So once we start studying, then now we can understand this stuff like Vincent saying. Now, I want to say about the separate but equal. First of all, I don't believe that we can look in creation and see that's how stuff is intended to be. Right. Stuff is unified. Everything has to work in unison in order to, push everything forward. So, but I understand the idea of separate but equal, because a lot of black people say, hey, we trying to do this, we trying to do this, and y'all don't want to give it to us. Well, let us separate from y'all. Let us migrate. And they still didn't want to do that. You know what I mean? Right. We talked about Marcus Garvey before. He wanted to go to Pan-Africanism. Elijah Muhammad and them tried to separate. We want this piece of the land. We want this. We want to stay over here, but give us this land. So, no, they don't want us to go. Right. They just want us to stay in a certain place, the people in the top. If they wanted us, because who they going to profit off of? You know what I mean? So, they profiting off of us. They profiting off poor people. So, this is what's going on. But, to keep pushing this forward, the idea of oppression is more than just color. Because some of us, if we be on top right now, we'll oppress each other. We do it now. Exactly. Some of us are oppressive in our own household. We go home from work and verbally abuse each other. So we got to understand this stuff is deeper than just color, institutionalized racism. It's a human being, too. Like, what is going on inside of you to make you like this? There's no such thing as an ideal world. There's no such thing as a perfect world. Because if that was the case, activists are going to be out of job. You know what I mean? What they going to have to speak on? Well, God didn't create it to be like everything is perfect. He wanted it. That's how you grow. That's how you struggle. And everything a black man and black woman has got, they have struggled for in this country. But we on the road. We're on the road. But like Vincent said about this system, it's already designed. You're not going to. Many have tried, bro. That's why I see people saying this stuff. Bro, you know what I mean? I hear Dr. Umar Johnson, and I salute that brother for what he's doing. He's talking about paying out. Bro, people already tried this stuff. Why did it fail? the system ain't gonna let you do this, bro. You cannot